And we're kind of setting up in a new area. So, it is October 2022, and it is Fat Bear Week. We are right in the middle of it, and we're going to go over what Fat Bear Week is more in a little bit. But first of all, yeah, we're going to try to get back into live streams coming up soon through the fall and winter, hopefully. But yeah, so Fat Bear Week. It is a celebration of the bears in Katmai State Park up in Alaska getting fat in preparation for hibernation. And today we're going to go over, well, why should we care, and also just kind of what are bears, what's hibernation, and we're going to show you a couple kind of cool things that we have. So, bears are large mammals. They're omnivores. They are in the order Carnivora, but bears tend to have very stocky legs, large round bodies, big heads, short tails, and non-retracting claws. There are 3 species of bear to know in North America. We have specimens of 1 species here, and I'll show you those now. So the first thing I'm going to preface is identifying bears is actually not as difficult as people tend to make it out. So, but it's also not simple. So this, despite the coloration, is a black bear. Black bears can range in color from this to black to white. Some are called cinnamon bears. They're very red in color. And bears can have multiple colors on them. One of the ways you can tell something is a black bear or not is going to be easier to see on this other specimen, which was donated to us about a year ago. So, one of the things with black bears, and these are bears you'll see in Minnesota, so this is actually an important one for all of us around here to identify. Black bears tend to have very large, round ears that are very prominent. Their forehead slopes down to the nose. You'll notice from the side, it doesn't look very square here. Grizzly bears have a lot more square heads. And we can't really show you on this, but with black bears, they don't have a prominent shoulder hump. Their butt is the highest part of their back, and they kind of slope forward. And there are other differences in footprints, and we might look at those in a little bit. Polar bears, we don't have to worry about in Minnesota, but they're probably the easiest bear in North America to identify. Polar bears are large, white bears. They have very similar shaped heads, actually, to black bears, but they have black noses, large white fur. They can be quite tall, quite large. You typically only see them up in northern Canada and Alaska for North America, though. And grizzly bears can be a few different colors, be darker brown, almost black, be lighter brown, almost white. They tend to have, like I said, a prominent shoulder hump, very square head. If you look at it from the side, the forehead kind of does a shape, kind of almost a blocky L shape. And they're bigger on average than black bears, but there is overlap in size with black bears and brown bears for size. And bears are omnivores, and they're related to animals like seals, skunks, and raccoons. And they're also well known for hibernation. Bears are what we call shallow or light hibernators, meaning that they don't stay fully unconscious, fully asleep for the duration of their hibernation, unlike some animals like squirrels, which are just out cold for the entire hibernation. And what is hibernation exactly? Hibernation is a state of metabolic lower activity or depression, not in the psychological depression, but literally the metabolic rates, so like heart rate, breathing rate, and other things slow down. During hibernation, all animals that hibernate do not eat. They do not excrete any waste. They don't drink water. They go with what is already in their bodies. And this makes preparing for hibernation really important for those animals. When bears wake up initially in the spring, they're pretty trim, they're pretty slender, they're pretty skinny, honestly. They've lost a lot of weight, and they're gonna have to recover from that. And they start recovering from that basically by eating as much as they can. Bears are omnivores, meaning it's gonna be easier for them to find a potential food source because more things are available as food sources. Bears are able to eat fruits, roots, seeds, grasses, fish, small mammals, medium-sized mammals, eggs. Honey is a really famous thing that a lot of bears tend to like because it's high in sugar, which is really good for putting on the pounds for hibernation. And they'll put on a lot of extra weight right coming out of hibernation, but the real crunch time comes in the fall when they only have a couple of weeks to prepare. And some of the weights they put on are quite extreme. So bears get really big in hibernation, but they hibernate mostly to skip the toughest part of the year. They're large animals. Finding a lot of food in the winter could be really difficult. Now, some bears don't hibernate. Certain species in tropical environments, like sun bears, sloth bears, tend not to hibernate as much. And occasionally you'll have black bears, brown bears, even polar bears who simply don't hibernate in the winter. Some individuals are able to make it through. But others basically use hibernation as a way to kind of skip out on the toughest part of the year. Because in the winter, there's not a lot of plants around, and animals get sparser too. So for large animals like bears, finding enough food simply to keep them running can be quite difficult. But yeah, so they do that to get through really cold, harsh winters. Now, here's where we're going to get into the point of why should we care about if bears can get fat. Bears are a really good indicator species of the health of an ecosystem. Is that system producing enough food? Is it sustaining populations of stuff like prey animals and plants? If you find a habitat where bears can't get fat for the winter, that's typically a very bad sign for that environment, and something is seriously wrong. So the fact that these bears are able to get fat is a really good indicator of the health. And in Katmai, where Fat Bear Week is run, it's a really good indicator specifically of the freshwater ecosystems, because those bears utilize salmon to get really fat. It's a very famous salmon run there, and what the bears do is they sit in the rivers as the salmon migrate upstream to reproduce, and these bears catch the salmon as they go by and eat them. And these salmon are full of eggs and other things. They're very nutritious. It's a good extra bit of protein and fat to help stock up on extra weight. And some of these bears do get ridiculously round. But generally, yeah, fat bears mean a happy ecosystem. And yes, we're actually going to talk a little bit about specifically Fat Bear Week. Fat Bear Week is run in Katmai, Alaska, and every year they post photos from earlier in the year and then coming up right now. And it's run for just about a week, so we're just dead in the middle. It's going to end on October, I believe, 11th, on Fat Tuesday. And you can vote on which bears you think the fattest are. And they do this as a way to get the public involved, to get the public interested in these animals. Because oftentimes people may not know what's going on in areas like this. And people will care about these issues, but we have to make sure people are aware of them. And Fat Bear Week helps people get aware of the ecology and the environmental issues facing places like Katmai every year, every day. It gets people invested by putting names to these bears, to these animals, these wild animals who have to survive in the world that we also live in a world that we heavily affect with our activities through logging, fishing, hunting, land use like making houses and stuff. By doing everything that we do every day, we affect the animals and plants around us. And sometimes that can come with some seriously bad effects. And by being aware of those and being aware of the things that we affect, oftentimes people are more mindful about what they do, more mindful about what products they buy, about how often they use certain things. And by spreading that awareness, it gets people more involved. People can feel like they are making a difference. People can know there's an issue to actually handle. Oftentimes, when we're not handling an issue as a public, it's mostly because of a lack of education about that issue even existing. Were people made aware of a lot of issues, they would take action. That's one of the good things about people, is we're generally not bad. But yeah, so Fat Bear Week is going on right now. I believe Otis just got knocked out of the running, and Otis is a 4-time winning bear. But yeah, you get to vote. I believe today it is 747 and Holly who are in the running for Fat Bear And I personally voted for 747. Any bear named after that large of an aircraft that gets that round, I think, I think should be the Fat Bear winner of the week. But yeah, no. So please go visit. I'm gonna hold up a little thing that has the website URL, and I'll actually show you this really quick. And then I'm gonna put this in the chat, the link to this, so you can all go vote yourselves. But yeah, Fat Bear Week is one of my favorite weeks of the year. It's one of my favorite wildlife events. I am, as any of my coworkers and friends, I am obsessed with bears. We also have a little Fat Bear merchandise in the store today at the gift shop. We have little 3D printed bears that you can buy that are in celebration of Fat Bear Week. But yeah, seriously, bears are awesome. I'm probably going to do another live stream around Halloween as well, coming up soon. But I'm also probably going to do another bear live stream because there's other stuff I would love to cover about these animals. And I'm probably going to do one on specifically black bears. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. Hopefully we'll be doing more of these live streams in the future. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And it is getting colder outside, so everyone please be mindful. Please wear your coats. Yes, kids, that means you listen to your parents. And it is spooky season as well. It is Halloween season. The Science Center is going to have a pretty fun day there. So if you come in on Halloween, come in your costume. We're all going to be wearing ours. We also have coming up this week a few events. On Wednesday, so after Fat Bear weekends, it is also National Fossil Day. Headwater Science Center will have a few activities for you. You'll be able to dig up your own little fossils that you can see, kind of get a sense of how paleontologists do this. We'll have little card kits. You can make your own dinosaur and take it home with you. And then we'll also teach you how replica fossils are made, so museums like us can display fossils. And then on the 16th, so next Sunday, it is a prehistoric painting night. We do these events monthly. On the third Sunday of every month, you can come on in and paint a model of a prehistoric animal and take it on home with you. It's great if you have someone who is kind of like me, obsessed with prehistoric animals. They will love it. It is also great if you want to have a fun time with your friends, if you want to just get out of the house in the evening and do something. Feel free to call or email us. We have signs up around town, and we'll also be making a Facebook post. It is $10 per person, $5 per member, and if you get a group of 5 people, you only pay $5 per person. You get the member price. And we do a different prehistoric animal every month. We range these animals from dinosaurs to really weird fish to prehistoric mammals. And we only have 2 more new animals of the year. December, we do a little bit of a different one. So have a wonderful day. Happy Fat Bear Week. And I hope that you have a good rest of your weekend.